Former governors Olusegun Mimiko of Ondo State, Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State were also part of the entourage as they wore the customized outfit as worn by the G5 governors. Some say they came for a fashion parade, but they actually came to flag off the re-election bid of the incumbent governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde. Let us look at today's discourse on perspectives on court. In recent times, politicians have contracted prominent lawyers to denounce, especially in strong terms, the agitation for local government autonomy being championed mainly by the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees. It is argued by the forces against it that those who advocate autonomy at the level of government lack a proper understanding of the concept of true federalism. That in a true federal system, there are only two tiers of government, the central government and the states. That the local government is not a tier of government, and are calling for local government autonomy and challenging governors for not giving local governments a free hand to operate depict ignorance of the law. It is therefore critical to examine the key arguments of the antagonists with a view to furthering the cause of local government autonomy. The first issue to deal with is whether or not there is true federalism. Some will look at the response as being delusional to argue that there is true federalism anywhere in the world. An avalanche of studies exists to dispel the illusion of true federalism. In reality, you want to ask, is there an ideal or true federalism? Just as you ask, is there a false or fake federalism? The theoretical conceptualization and practice of federalism vary across the world on account of historical, political, economic, socio-cultural, and legal contexts. We can go on and on and on to break down this argument. Many will ask, is there anything called true federalism? Is there anything called false federalism? Do countries understand federalism? What is federalism? What does it mean to us? Rotimi Johnson Ojasope, good afternoon. It's good to have you on the show this evening.
Good afternoon, Wike. Happy New Year.
Well, Wike came to Ibadan.
Chike.
I was with Engineer Seyi Makinde. Well, it's part of it. It's part of it. It's actually your own perspectives. But I'll cut it now. It won't be uncut. I am Chike Ogbogu.
Okay, Chike, welcome, and permit me to also welcome you to the Fresh FM family.
Thank you so much. It's an honor having you here again.
It's always a pleasure.
Once again on air. Quickly, this issue, before we come to you proper, let's discuss this. This concept of federalism. Do nations really understand federalism? What is federalism? Is there anything called true federalism? Is there false federalism?
Well, I want to believe if there is true federalism, then there will be false federalism. But I think the true federalism is the real practice of it, while the so-called false federalism is why you just pay lip service to federalism, like what we do in Nigeria, because we say Nigeria is Federal Republic of Nigeria, but in actual fact is Central Republic.
A unitary government of Nigeria.
It's a Central Republic of Nigeria, because in practice it is not really federal. It is central.
You see, when you say it is a Central Republic of Nigeria, you want to ask a question too. What is a republic? Is it not a unitary government of Nigeria that we're practicing?
Well, you can say that in a way, but when you're, I'm both a theorist now, and a politician. So I've seen that our democracy has been militarized because after the military government handed over to civilian government, you discover that the military guys, they have kind of infected the civilians with their style of leadership. Because there was a time that you have the military president, like in the time of Babangida, and you have civilians working with them. So obey the last order, and this kind of centralization of governance has been introduced into our democracy. So when you let go, when you give this federating unit, influence and power, is as if you're becoming a weak leader, sort of. So as soon as you get into office, you want to control everything. So that's when people respect you. And that's when you begin to hear slangs like, I remain loyal, in our politics. So that's why I said,
morning, sir. When it's even afternoon, you hear morning, sir.
Yes, you hear morning, sir. So it's because the military, so to say, they have militarized our democracy. So when the so-called civilians to go up there, apart from being voted in, every other thing they do, they imitate the military.
And even the civilians that came into the civil rule, into our democracy, were people who dropped their khaki to wear the agbada.
Yes, so to a large extent, they believe that is the way it should be done. So we need a complete departure from military kind of democracy for us to be able to have the true federal government that we yearn to have.
Are you saying now that our constitution, which also was given to us, has an undertone and that cannot even give room for federalism?
Yes. With this present constitution, we can't boastfully practice true federalism. We can't. I will give you instances. For instance, this present administration has flouted the federal character in many ways. But who is going to question Mr. President? Mr. President, like we say in Yoruba land, is Kabiyesi. That is not a federation unit. Nobody can question him, because like it was in the military time, that's the same way it is in the civilian time, when the president is the almighty in the architecture of governance. So we are not practicing the real democracy that we're supposed to practice. And you can't blame Nigerians, because even before the advent of democracy, the kind of colonial rule and the traditional system we had too did not give room for you to question leadership. So the traditional rulers in those days too, they were like all in all. And that's why we came about this Kabiyesi. So the involvement of our leadership, both the traditional, the colonial system, the military rule, has taken its toll on the way we are practicing our democracy. So we need to have a kind of holistic turnaround to be able to have effective democracy that will be able to take us from where we are to where we are supposed to be.
And that includes reviews.
Complete review of the constitution, even our orientation as people.
Now, many people have argued about the 1963 Republican Constitution, which gives room for federalism, federating units, existing and growing as entities, and giving the center, making the center weak, just contributing a quarter or a minute, let me not be precise, but contributing minute of whatever they get to the center, and making regional assemblies more strong and attractive. Are you saying that in 2023 we cannot, or in the 21st century going forward, we cannot even have such a thing? Some have said, let us dust that constitution, change the back cover, and implement it. Is that feasible?
It's not feasible. Not feasible. Nigerians don't like to hear the truth. But the truth is, you cannot expect the National Assembly to reduce its own power. You cannot expect the present presidency to willingly relinquish part of the influence it has. It's not possible.
But in the past, Yoruba
it was
land,
they said that the cutlass cannot be so sharp that we begin to cut his own holster.
So but who will sharpen the cutlass?
Yes, so
somebody needs to sharpen the cutlass.
Nigerians must change our orientation and take the bull by the horn. So we begin to take our leaders by their word. We challenge them. There should be more impacting engagement about whoever want to sit on leadership in Nigeria. That's when we can begin to have gradual departure. Because if you're going to have a sudden departure, then it's going to be a bloody revolution that can give us a sudden departure.
Which is not what we pray for. I don't think we need a bloody revolution.
That's why I said it's not what we pray for.
Let me ask you this now. You want to go represent the people of Ibadan, Northwest, Southwest Federal Constituency in Abuja under SDP. Don't you think that legislators should come together, since you are looking at having effective representation? Don't you think legislators or the National Assembly should come together and say, enough of this, let us reduce our cost of governance, let us not have 36 state governors anymore, let us have 6 state governors. These 6 state governors include the 6 regions in Nigeria, and then the regional assembly will now be attractive for people like Ojasope. Instead of you going to Abuja, you concentrate on your regional assembly and create the impact in your regions. Don't you think that should be the key and the thought of the National Assembly at this time? Or is it because of the largesse in Abuja?
Well, you asked me that question like a British, journalist, not like a Nigerian, because as a Nigerian, you know who we are in this country. You're talking about ideal situation. What you said is the ideal situation. But to what extent do we have ideal situation in Nigeria? It is almost non-existent. So let us now talk about what we have influence over. In Nigeria, what is practicable is, because we have a very strong presidency. If the presidency wants us to do that, everybody will toe the line, at least most in the National Assembly.
Does the presidency control the National Assembly? Is it not the reverse? The reverse is supposed to be the case.
It's supposed to be. That's why I said what you're saying is ideal situation. But what has been obtainable in Nigeria is the presidency, determines some of these things.
Wow.
What I can do, because I want effective representation of my people, is to only look for like minds. Maybe if we're able to increase the circle. But I'm not so optimistic with that, because most people are going there. That's why we are still where we are.
Since you're not optimistic with that, it means there can be a change. We continue with this status quo.
No, I wouldn't say that. It will only take time.
Okay.
That's why I said there will be gradual changes. I'm an apostle of these gradual changes, because sudden changes always lead to violence, always lead to unpredictable ends. So gradual changes, you put things and the parameters still within our control. I know who I am. So when I see like minds, it's just like the tuning fork principles in physics. So when you strike it on the table, it will pick others.
There will be vibrations.
On the same frequency.
Yes.
So if I get to the National Assembly, I won't be like Elijah, who thought he's the only prophet that has not bowed. All you have to do is to strike the tuning fork. You begin to pick other fork on your frequency. Then you begin to align and begin to talk about how you can bring a bigger reformation. But to now think that the whole National Assembly, with all these people we have been seeing and hearing all these days, will now just sit down and say, okay, let's cut our allowance. Okay, it's not practicable. That's like hoping against hope. But I always believe that, look, concentrate on what you have influence over and leave the rest. So if I concentrate on what I have influence over and I meet another you there, we begin to add up and begin to form alliance that can better our lot. So as I'm bettering the lot of my people in my constituency, you're doing that in your own constituency. We are like minds. We begin to form alliance until those who have such perspective, like you say, until they are in the majority in the National Assembly, there is nothing we can do. It's a game of number.
In the National Assembly, Ojasope, there's this saying, especially in the parliament, they say minority will have their say, but majority will have their way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you have like minds with same perspectives with you, and they are in the minority, especially when it comes to the party, do you think you will have any say in the National Assembly?
No, it will be pompous of me to think because I'm in a minority party then I'm the only one that have this kind of mindset. There are few people, even in the so-called big parties, they only need encouragement and know that this one is a like mind. And that is why there are cross-party alignment in the National Assembly. You know, one of the problems you have is you're going to tamper with the allowances and others. But when you have other alignments, you begin to rub minds and you begin to see things differently. You know, I can have a voice, but to be able to have an influence in the National Assembly, I must mingle with others. I must, that's why the National Assembly anywhere in the world is only an assembly of lobbyists. You must be able to lobby because you have an agenda, whether a motion or a bill or even an idea. You must be able to lobby others to buy into your vision. Until you are able to do that successfully, you are only a bench warmer.
Ojasope, we'll go on a break now, but before we go on that break, I want to tell you, if you eventually win and become a lawmaker, be very careful when lobbying so you don't lobby and cross carpet. We'll go on a break now. Now, when we come back, Perspectives Uncut continue. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
You're listening to 105.9 Fresh FM. Bó ṣe ń ta sánsán tó ń sẹ̀kẹ̀ mẹ́ndẹ̀. Latest release orin Dr. Olayinka Joel Ayéfẹ́lẹ́ ọjà. MON. Ó tún ti mi gbogbo àgbáyé títì. So far so good làkọ́lé ẹ̀. Ayéfẹ́lẹ́ ṣe é kárakára. Torí ti lu àlùjọ tó já ské. Ó yá láúdà. So far so good. Ayéfẹ́lẹ́ ó tún yá. Ẹ ò tí gbọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ tún gbà. Ayéfẹ́lẹ́ ló ṣe rẹ̀. Arìnrìn ìjọ ti yẹ ẹ̀sùn bàtà. Ẹ wo latest record yìí ká Ayéfẹ́lẹ́ tó gbé àkọlé ẹ̀ ní So Far So Good. Audio CD ẹ ti jáde chart buster ní It Is Irresistible. Big project ní marketers olórúkọ méjì ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ló ń ta tó ń pín. Aloy Production International. Telephone 080-330-47110. Àti Room Model Entertainment. Telephone 080-3432-7594. So Far So Good. Unlimited gbogbo orí gbogbo àlùjọ ní ẹgbàá bẹ́ẹ̀. Go get your copy now. You're listening to 105.9 Fresh FM. Perspectives on Fresh 105.9 FM.
All right, welcome back. It's still Perspectives Uncut on Fresh 105.9 FM. I'll open the phone lines later to get your own perspective, you dear listener. The phone lines that will be open later on will be 3232-1059. 3232-1059. That will be later on. But I still have my guest, Rotimi Johnson Ojasope. He wants to go to the Federal House of Representatives to represent the people of Ibadan Northwest, Southwest Federal Constituency. But before I come back to him, remember we're talking about federalism. Is federalism true or false? But I believe we should have a federal system of government since we call ourselves a Federal Republic of Nigeria. If we're meant to do that, ideally, then we look at local government autonomy. Are local governments meant to stay alone? Let us listen to the Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, where he talked about local government autonomy and what the House is doing to ensure that it comes to pass.
I will not go into my own personal thoughts about the autonomy. I'll just go into a broader thought. And I want to raise some of the ideas that we might have. His Excellency, the Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Chike Ogbogu, has nothing against the local government autonomy. I want to let you know that one. Because the insinuation of the governors, I can assure you today that it is not all governors that stand against local government autonomy. And that is a fact. How do I know this as a fact? I know this as a fact because there are weekly, monthly, and daily consultations with the Governors Forum versus the Speakers Forum. I believe that we do not fully understand in totality the consequences of local government autonomy, local government administrative autonomy. There are two bills within the local government autonomy. There's local government financial autonomy, one, and then there's local government administrative autonomy, two. Every action, there are consequences and a reaction for every action, whether good or bad. The argument today is that we will start building the institution of the local government from somewhere. Where do we start building this from? And something I want to assure the people that I know for a fact is that there is no inch of local government all over of the local governments. There is no inch of that local government that is outside the border of Oyo State. What am I trying to say? Local governments and states are one and the other. There's no aspect or portion of land in the state government that is not within the local government. And there's no inch portion of the local government that is not within a state. In Nigeria, we say we practice true federalism. What is true federalism? True federalism is the ability for a state to determine its own arrangement, either due to security, either due to management of funds or whatnot. The position of the Governors Forum was to hold the National Assembly to ransom and demand for state security. NLC, he made a statement talking about the security. Yes, local government autonomy will improve the security of our land. But can the security of our land be improved without domesticating security in our own state? Can the security be improved without having our own state policing system? Let's be honest with ourselves. We know that we want what is best for Nigeria moving forward. We want what is best for Oyo State moving forward. With the Oyo State House of Assembly, we have studied the consequences and this bill intricately, and we can assure you that we will be passing the alteration of the amendment bill in due course. I can assure you that we will not shy away from our responsibility regardless of the consequences, regardless of whether there's an election coming or not. We will not shy away from it because only God determines everyone's future and not man. So what I can guarantee you is that we will do what's best for your state and we will do what's best for Nigeria. But after our decision, I can guarantee that we will all be happy and we will all be satisfied with the end result. What I want to appeal to us now is that give Oyo State some time. We are going to pass the budget possibly before the ending of the year.
All right, welcome back. The Speaker, Oyo State House of Assembly, speaking there, talking about local government autonomy and the stand of governors. Okay, let's get your thoughts. You listen to him, Ojasope. Local government autonomy. What are your thoughts on that first, before I go ahead to ask you the other question?
Well, I had so much is said to cover up why Oyo State has not started, is not really passing the local government autonomy bill. But the truth is, the scenario that played out in my mind is like having a federal government that withholds the funds of the state. Now tell the state that, look, I've tarred Molete GLN road from your allocation. So, and yet you say that the state is a federating unit. It is not. So what we are having now is a caricature of what's supposed to be. When the local government reform was done in 1976, the essence of it is to make the impact of governance be felt at the grassroots. Okay. And that is why you have a lot of roads. You have more roads. You have more trunk C roads. that are supposed to be constructed and managed by the local government, even more than the Trunk B and Trunk A roads. And that's why a lot of roads in Nigeria are in very terrible and deplorable states, because the local government has not been empowered. You know, when he was talking about financial autonomy and administrative autonomy, I believe that is just semantics. Autonomy is autonomy. When you have autonomy, you have full control. That's what is autonomy about. So if they're talking about financial autonomy or administrative autonomy, if you are having either, if you are not having both, you are not having full autonomy. So we need to have full autonomy to have the real dividends of democracy in Nigeria and have the impact of governance. And that is why there is no how the state government or the state government can be so performing that can take care of everything. It is not possible, because you only have one governor. And the governor cannot be in all local government at the same time. But you have elected representatives at the local government, which are the chairmen. That's why they are executive, apart from the legislature.
Since there's no local government autonomy as it stands, don't you think we should scrap local government elections and save money instead of wasting so much money for local government elections?
Well, I think rather than scrapping local government, I think we should make it a serious agitation instead. Because to scrap local government is to subject ourselves to...
No, why I said that was, since you're not granting local governments autonomy, why not scrap it and stop wasting money on elections?
The civil engagement here is to make them grant local government autonomy.
How do we do that?
We do that, for instance, anybody you're going to elect to the State House of Assembly, ask him point blank, what is your position on this? And we hold you accountable for this. So you know that your performance yardstick, this is going to be number one consideration.
Many of them are
you begin to engage them.
Many of them are puppets. Many governors. Many governors are emperors in their kingdoms.
That is what shouldn't be. And we complain about the president being too powerful, where the governors too are becoming demigods. It shouldn't be.
What would you do differently, Ojasope, if elected to the Federal House of Representatives in Abuja? What would you do differently?
Well, what I would do differently, for instance, I had my postgraduate diploma in public and local government administration, so I know what should be, and some of these things you only need to enlighten, because I discovered that we have voted for a lot of people that are weary of reading. It's as if they are scared to read.
They don't read,
and you need to read, because you must know the intention of every creation. So if you have had if you have local governments in Nigeria, those who formed local government and created all this and brought all this reform, what was their intention? So you need to read, because I was barely 5 years old then. So I need to read to understand the intention of those who had the reform. So when we are talking about local government autonomy now, if we are having a true federating unit, a true federal system of governance, we should not even be talking about autonomy, because it will be automatic. It will be automatic. But it's because we are not practicing true federalism. That's why we are talking about autonomy. That's why we are talking about state police. Because if you are truly a federating unit, then the center should not be controlling the police 100%. The center should control the territory, the territorial integrity of the country. Then you leave the state to mind criminality and curb excesses. And make sure that people abide by the law. But because we are not doing that.
Would you propose that if you win, or if you get to Abuja? Would you propose that?
Of course, because that's part of restructuring. I stand fully for restructuring. Seriously, if we have restructuring in Nigeria, a lot of things our people are agitating for, like secession, like rotational presidency and all these things, they will just fizzle out. What we actually need is restructuring. Once we have this restructuring, both physical and administrative restructuring in this country, everything will fall into place.
Yomi Oladele on Facebook, you said I've been going through your posts. Well, this is the first time I'm stumbling on you on Facebook. But you went ahead to say, a country that claims to have a federal system of government being run by a unitary system, the rotten post-independence military criminals hijacked the regional democratic structure and imposed a constitution that creates the dilemma the accidental nation is facing to date. You went ahead to say federalism, the process of allowing regional management and control of resources within regions, with the center having responsibility for security and national health care and emergencies. Awotona Olayemi Olasko, Adebowale Kemisola, Adirunke Akorede Oladele, and Adeniyi Alawode. Well, your greetings are well acknowledged there. It's still Perspectives on Court on Fresh 105.9 FM. Ibadan here. My guest has been Rotimi Johnson Ojasope. Well, the phone lines are open. What do you understand by federalism? Are you following the discussion? Let's hear your thoughts. 080-3232-1059. 080-3232-1059. Those are the numbers to call. Rotimi Johnson Ojasope, before I pick any call now, let me come to you again. What mark do you want to make in the House of Representatives if given the chance to represent your people, especially the people of Ibadan North, West, Southwest Federal Constituency? You answer that question after this call. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Okay. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, I think we have issues with the network. Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Okay, I'm calling from Ibadan. My name is Solomon.
Solomon from Ibadan.
Yes.
Let's have your thoughts
Yes.
in just 30 seconds.
Federalism is more or less like a democratic government. But to be said, I don't think we can achieve either federalism or democratic government in Nigeria because of the selfishness and the power that has been accrued to the leader. So they are already bigger than the law. They are already bigger than the federalism or democratic system of government. So they are more or less a unitary. Or when I refer to them as a tyrant. So I wish we can achieve federalism or democratic system of government. It would have gone far and really help us in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you for calling the radio station. Akodu Adedayo on Facebook is saying this man knows what he's saying. He is the best man we need at this time. Okay, that's referring to my guest, Rotimi Johnson Ojasope. Remember, we're live on Facebook at Fresh FM Ibadan. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Quickly, your thoughts on the issue this evening.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Akinshet Akole.
All right.
And if we were talking about federalism in Nigeria, you are talking restructuring.
Yes.
And we cannot do restructuring because we have some laws in Nigeria that doesn't even give room for development.
Okay.
So we need to look into restructuring very well.
Okay.
And that is going to trickle down even down to the local government level. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, my very good friend Shete there. Okay. Rotimi Johnson Ojasope, he wants to represent the people of Ibadan Northwest Southwest Federal Constituency in the Federal House of Representatives. Looking at the chances of your party in Oyo State, the PDP seem to have issues when it comes to the national level. The G5 governors were in Ibadan today to flag off the official campaign of the governor at the Makbo Hall, and then no categorical statement was made. It was a very tactful statement there by Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State, saying that people should vote for their party. However, when it comes to the presidential level, they will talk to the governor, and the governor will tell the people where they will go to. Very tactical statement. What's your take on this? And do you see the House holding, and do you see your party capitalizing on whatever going on in the state?
Of course, let me start from the last statement. We are capitalizing on that. because that's the beauty of democracy. You know, when you have to wait for the governor to tell you who to vote for, when the government actually need the people to vote for him. So then it makes it more interesting. It makes it more interesting. But like I said in one of the programs, is that it is unprecedented to have it like this in Oyo State, where a sitting governor and also a candidate for another election is working against the interests of the party at the national. But the reality on ground now is that it has thrown the game open to whoever. So if you have demonstrated anti-party, you have invariably given other members of your party that, look, you can go wherever you like. And I like that.
Yeah.
It pays me. So I'm not complaining.
You are not complaining.
It's very, very good.
But let me hit you. Let me hit you straight. Let me hit you straight. You used to be a member of the PDP in Oyo State.
You say used.
You used to be.
So it's past tense.
Yeah, you used to be a member of the PDP in
right.
Oyo State. So I'll ask you this. If the G5 governors eventually endorse a different candidate, presidential candidate, apart from the presidential candidate of the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, what would be the fate of Governor Seyi Makinde in Oyo State?
Well, you know, like
seeking for a second term, considering the fact that he's the only governor amongst them going for a second term.
Well, his fate is invariably in the hand of God. But as human, I would say that he will reduce the number of votes he's going to get. That's what I would say. He will definitely reduce. If he was, like he said, he's going to lead by at least 600,000 votes. So if he's calculating 600,000 vote margin, then of course you know that he's going to reduce. So whatever.
So even if his votes reduces, right? I beg your pardon. Even if his votes reduces, the number of his votes reduces, then he could still win, right?
I'm not saying he could win. So
because you're sounding
I don't want to play God.
Yeah, you're sounding.
I don't want to play God to say categorically that he cannot win. If it were to be my own election, you know, when you said if you become, I said no. When I become.
Well,
that is my election.
INEC will determine when you become. But for me,
so that
I'll
one
say
is my
if
election.
you become.
So when I'm talking about somebody else, I have to be mindful. Because my faith does not allow me to talk categorically about tomorrow, particularly when it comes to somebody else. I don't exercise my faith to hinder somebody else. I can only talk within my jurisdiction as human. So that's why I said whatever votes his performance and his character has been able to garner, that decision is going to reduce it. So if he was going to lose before, he's going to lose by bigger margin. If he was going to win, he's going to win by smaller margin. That is sacrosanct with that decision.
Analytical. Rotimi Johnson Ojasope. The phone lines are still open. Let me pick one or two calls before we call it a wrap this evening. 08032321059, 08077771059. Those are the numbers to call. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, you have to call back 08032321059. Fatai Anyila says, okay, hello Chike, you're honestly doing fine. This is my first time meeting you on this channel. You're welcome. Okay, thank you. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling from. You have only 1 minute for sake of time.
From Ibadan.
All right, quickly.
I want to appreciate the speaker on the program.
Okay.
Your guest he has done well.
Thank you, sir.
His presentation, all that he has been saying. But I want us to take note of something. This constitution is the problem. The constitution, until we are ready for that restructure or restructuring we keep talking about, that we want, until the constitution is being changed, and we have a democratic constitution, no federal republic work in line with constitution that is abnormal. So if this republic will work, the constitution needs to be, amended.
All right.
And make democratic. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. 08032321059. Prince Mono Olabisi on Facebook says, good afternoon, and the analyst on the federalism issue. What it takes is for us to completely jettison the present constitution, which has no face of federalism at all. And secondly, the new constitution should completely be barred any Nigerian that has military background not to participate in electioneering process of governance. That's your thoughts there, Prince Umonu Olabisi. There. Okay, let's pick this call. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, if you're calling, kindly turn the volume of your radio set down. Turn it down. 08032321059. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Kindly turn the volume on your radio down so we can hear ourselves well. Okay.
I am a person from Ibadan.
Okay, make your point quickly.
The guest you have there is a confident person. I wish we have somebody like him as a legislator. He will do well.
Thank you, sir.
Talking about governors and you can do.
Okay.
Really, we have the best from him. But what he's practicing now can affect his future election. Can affect his election very well. Because these women, these old people, we don't know the difference. When he says go and vote for this, to just go there and vote there. They will leave his own vote the next time you need it.
All right, you've made your point. You've made your point. Thank you. Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling. Ojasope, we have to go for sake of time. However, your final message to your followers.
Well, my final message is just
on this show, not your final message. We're on this show.
Of course, on this show. My final message on this show is that they should just have it in mind that there is someone that can walk the talk. It's not all about talking. You know, it takes will to do it, and I have what it takes. I can walk the talk. By the grace of God, they won't be disappointed. And thank you, Wike, for having me on this program.
Okay, Wike is in Port Harcourt, but Chike is here in the studio.
Maybe I've known you before I know Wike.
Maybe you're professing that I'll be a governor soon.
Well, I will be governor's friend. So if you become governor, I become governor's friend. So I prophesy that.
Thank you for featuring on Perspectives on Court on Fresh 105.9 FM. I am Chike Ogbogu. I worked alongside Olusoji Appiah for the production of this episode. Adiola Bankole too is here in the studio. Thank you for being there, dear listener. Until this edition comes your way again next week, Thursday, 3:15 p.m. on this dial. Enjoy our programs and bye for now.
The views and opinions expressed by